This is the Galaxy Z Fold 6 and it costs 1.65 lakh rupees here in India. If you are considering spending that kind of money on a foldable smartphone, you gotta be 100% sure that it is totally worth it. After all, the cheaper S24 Ultra has better cameras, better battery life and more features than the Z Fold 6. But Samsung's Fold series has always been more about than just specs. The real magic lies in its unique form factor and software optimization, making it the best phone for productivity on the go. No traditional smartphone can quite match that. I'm gonna talk about this and more, but before that, why not consider subscribing to TechHook for more amazing gadget reviews? Let's begin with the trivial stuff. You know, the kind of things that do sound unessential, but they make a big impact on the overall user experience. For starters, the Fold 6 is a fantastic smartphone for reading documents and PDFs. The wide inner display means that documents fit beautifully on it without the need for zooming in or scrolling side to side. By extension, this also means that the Fold 6 is one of the most brilliant ebook readers around. I know that there are much more affordable traditional ebook readers around, but how many of them fold into half and fit in your pocket? The Fold 6 is basically a mini tablet in your pocket, so productivity geeks will love it for sure. You can open up to 3 apps simultaneously on it. In fact, you can simply drag and drop stuff across multiple apps like you would do on a PC, making everything less cumbersome. The app dock at the bottom ensures that switching between apps is a lot more seamless as well. By the way, many apps refuse to open in multi-window format, but Samsung has a solution for it. Just go to Labs in Settings and enable multi-window for all apps and boom, it fixes everything. Just one UI things. The width of the foldable display also means that browsers show a desktop-like interface with tabs clearly visible on top. Then, if you use the Samsung browser instead of Chrome, you can also use Galaxy AI to summarize web pages for you so that you can quickly sift through the information. If you travel a lot, Samsung's AI translator works in an amazing way on the Fold 6 because it can utilize both displays simultaneously. So, the other speaker won't just hear the translated text but can also read it. How awesome is that? But I must mention that currently, this is only useful if you travel abroad because the only supported Indian language is Hindi. Adding support for more Indian languages would make the Fold 6 an ideal companion for domestic travel as well. Talking of travel, if you are into vlogging, then the Fold 6 might have one of the most interesting camera systems for you. You can basically use its rear camera system to shoot stable and high quality videos of yourself. In fact, you can use the ultra-wide camera to fit so much more into the frame. Although I must point out that a flip-style foldable is better suited for this purpose because it is easier to grip. Now, let's talk about the fun stuff. Samsung's next-gen generative AI features debut on the Fold 6. Using this, you can roughly draw a horrible drawing on top of an image and the AI interprets it and creates and integrates the object in real time in that image. This feature will also come to other Galaxy phones very soon via an update. But the big inner display of the Fold 6 makes scribbling on it so much easier. However, if you want to be more precise with it, you will have to opt for the optional S Pen. The S Pen will enhance the productivity potential of this phone by a lot, and it is quite frustrating to see that it is an optional accessory on such an expensive phone. In fact, Samsung has been embedding the S Pen into its phones since 2011. So I'm not ready to believe that this company cannot figure out how to do the same on its foldable smartphone. Alright, so all the potentially unique use cases aside, how is the Fold 6 as a regular high-end smartphone? To begin with, while the Fold 6 is mostly an incremental upgrade over the Fold 5, its design is vastly different. It does not look like a big change on paper, but the in-hand feel of the Fold 6 and the Fold 5 are worlds apart. This phone now has squared off corners just like the S24 Ultra. Basically, two of the most expensive Samsung phones now have a boxy design. Then, at 239 grams and 12.1 millimeters, the Fold 6 is also lighter and thinner than its predecessor. More importantly, the aspect ratio of the Fold 6 is now approximately 22:9. This makes it a little wider than the Fold 5, which has two benefits. First, the cover display is now not awkwardly narrow and is easier to use. The second is that the inner display is slightly wider as well. Despite these differences, the inner display remains the same in size at 7.6 inches, while the outer display is up by 0.1 inches at 6.3 inches. Both are LTPO AMOLED panels with a 120Hz refresh rate. Moving on, The Fold 6 is the first foldable phone with an IP48 rating. This means that it has resistance for not just water but also for dust particles. So, theoretically, this phone is less prone to a squeaky hinge. The phone also gets Gorilla Glass Victus True protection on the cover display and the matte glass back. But as with all foldable smartphones, the durability of the inner foldable display remains quite questionable. So yeah, these phones require a lot more care than your standard smartphone. Anyway, the phone obviously has the standard yearly chipset upgrade as well. It is powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 instead of the 8 Gen 2 on its predecessor. You also get 12 GB of RAM as standard. This, when combined with the feature-rich One UI 6, makes the Fold 6 quite an enjoyable phone to use. Another great thing is that this phone is covered under Samsung's extended software support. So the Fold 6 will get Android updates till Android 21. That is quite crazy. Moving on, the battery capacity on this device is 4400 mAh, which is not bad, but it has been the same since the Fold 3. Plus, both the OnePlus Open and Vivo X Fold 3 Pro offer bigger batteries on their foldables. Fortunately, Samsung's optimizations ensure that the battery life is not bad by any means, with a screen time of around 5.5 to 6 hours. But a phone built for productivity definitely deserves a larger battery. It also deserves faster charging than just 25 watts wired and 15 watts wireless. Now, you cannot talk about a premium smartphone without testing out its camera system. This smartphone's camera system is quite good, but it is not what you'd expect for 1.65 lakh rupees. The rear cameras include a 50 megapixel main, a 12 megapixel ultra-wide and a 10 megapixel telephoto sensor with 3x optical zoom. The main and telephoto cameras are lifted directly from the S24 and S24 Plus, while the ultra-wide is a slightly upgraded sensor. In typical Samsung fashion, daytime shots from all sensors are pleasingly vivid with a nice saturation boost. Low light photos have low noise and bright colors too, but the overall detail and highlight control is not quite flagship worthy. This is especially true for the telephoto camera, which often refuses to fire up in low light, leading to low quality cropped photos from the main sensor. This camera system, however, does take impressively stable videos with an ample amount of detail. You also get a 10 megapixel selfie camera in the cover display that takes good selfies. However, the second so-called invisible selfie camera inside the main display has not gotten any upgrade since the Fold 3, so its results are quite unsatisfactory. So yeah, that's the Galaxy Z Fold 6, a thoroughly refined version of the Z Fold 5. However, since Samsung is no longer the only brand that globally sells a large format foldable phone, I did expect more advancements in the camera and battery department. That being said, Samsung is still the only Android phone company with a brand value strong enough to command 1.65 lakh rupees. So, I'm sure a lot of people will indeed prefer the Fold 6 over its Chinese rivals. And as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, the Z Fold 6 is the best phone for productivity on the go. That's it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and if you liked what you saw, don't forget to subscribe to TechHook.